Hello everyone, David from Penny University, and today I just wanted to tell you a true story. This is something that happened to me. It happened in 2003, and it was an epiphany for me. Every once in a while, something happens in your life that's just sort of an epiphany. The bulb comes on, and you know the truth. And in 2003, I learned that basically we have no freedom at all. We have nothing. No freedom under any form of government because the government can basically just do whatever it wants to its people. What you have are privileges. You have privileges the government allows you to have while they brainwash the masses into thinking that they have freedom so that they can continue to wander aimlessly through their lives. And that about sums it up. That's what I discovered. And again, this took place in 2003, and this was during a custody battle. I was living in Kansas, Shawnee County, Kansas at that time. And I was in the courthouse because I had to visit with the case manager. This was, like I said, a custody dispute. The court assigned a case manager. You have to go in for several interviews. I was there for an interview, basically trying to save my two sons. I was trying to get my boys away from their mother who was abusing them. Not just saying that. I'm not being vindictive with that statement. As a matter of fact, she eventually lost custody, but not in 2003. Now, when I walked out of the case manager's office, I was surrounded. I was apprehended by 2 FBI agents and 6 sheriff deputies. That's 8 armed men. And this happened right in front of the case manager, right in front of her, which was my immediate concern. Like, who are you people? What's going on? And what is she thinking? Because there is no such thing as innocent until proven guilty. It's enough to look guilty of something. And now I've got FBI agents telling me that I have to go with them. And they asked, would you like to come with us? And I told them, no, I don't want to go anywhere. And he said, you have no choice. You can't refuse to go. And I asked if I was being arrested, and I was told no, I was not being arrested. They wanted to talk to me. But I had no choice. I could go easy or hard. So I went easy. I didn't want to make a big fuss or a bigger fuss than it already was in front of this woman. I asked if I could make a phone call. I was told no, I could not make a phone call. As a matter of fact, I needed to surrender my phone. I wanted to talk to my attorney. I was told I could not speak to an attorney. And I was brought into the basement of the courthouse into a locked room. There was a table and chairs and had to sit in there with these people. And I was told at that time I was being detained under the Patriot Act, which is a complete oxymoron if you really think about it. If you even know what Patriot Act is, it's an acronym. And it stands for providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct terrorism Act of 2001, thanks to Congress and George Bush. So in order to combat terrorists, they have a law that allows them to bully U.S. citizens and push them around and take away their rights, or what rights they think they have, since we really don't have any. Now, I wasn't tortured or anything that drastic, but I was interrogated for quite some time. And it turns out that they had gotten a report that I had bomb-making equipment and was targeting the courthouse that I was in, which is ridiculous. I wasn't targeting a courthouse. I didn't have bomb-making equipment or tools for making explosives or anything like that. I was not in possession of anything like that. It was absolutely insane. And another thing, just sidetrack here a little bit, something I did not tell them. I never told them this, especially not at the time, but I recognized both of these men. I had seen them at work. At that time, I was working for Family Dollar stores. I was a general manager of Family Dollar. I was actually running both of their stores in the Topeka area. I was going back and forth between the two of them, and I've seen both of these men over a period of several months. I recognized them as coming in as customers. Not at the same time. They didn't come in together. They came in individually off and on. That's why I recognized their faces One of them, as a matter of fact, even filled out a job application. So they've been following me around for a while, wasting time, money, and resources. That's your tax dollars at work right there. That's what they do with your money when they squeeze it out of you, out of your paycheck, force you to pay them to have the privilege of having a job. Now, during the course of this, I kind of figured out what was really going on. I did something that, unfortunately, with their months of investigation and their tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars that they wasted on me, wasn't smart enough to figure out on their own. I put two and two together, and I threw my ex out there. You do realize I'm in a custody battle here. That's what you're disrupting right now. This is why I'm pissed off. And I told them her name, which was not, she did not have the same last name as me. We weren't married. We just had a couple of kids. We had moved from Massachusetts to Kansas. And I threw that name out, and I was like, does that ring a bell? Is that why we're sitting here? Are you two a couple of stooges for this custody battle to make me look like an idiot in front of the case manager? And they left the room and talked for a while, and then they came back and basically apologized for the confusion. They said they think they may have made a mistake and that I can go now and that they shouldn't be bothering me again. And the one guy confirmed off the record that yes, she is the one that made the initial contact. They cost me my children. They made me look bad in front of the case manager. And I said that, I was like, I'm screwed now. I'm going to lose custody because of this, because of how it looks to have you all approach me like that right in front of the case manager. You couldn't have done this anywhere else. You had to do it in the courthouse. And they said that they would talk to her, which they actually did, believe it or not, because she called me and told me that she was instructed by them. This is like a couple of days later. Instructed by them to let me know that they spoke to her and said that I wasn't in any trouble. But that's pointless. The damage was already done, and I did lose custody. It's enough to look guilty of something. There's no such thing as innocent until proven guilty in real life. It does not work that way. The implication is enough. Her seeing me getting grabbed that way was enough. It doesn't matter if they said that everything was peachy. I lost custody. I looked guilty. And it took 4 years to undo that damage. 4 years later, in 2007, custody was reversed. I was contacted by the court and contacted by a new case manager. And I had been in court and dealing with social workers that entire time, trying to get them back. But then they contact me in 2007. We've discovered that there may be severe abuse and neglect going on in our household. Can we give you the boys? 4 years they had to put up with that. They had to suffer. Stories from my kids about eating raw potatoes and shoplifting green beans, cans of green beans and corn from the supermarket and eating it raw. No exaggeration. You can't make this stuff up. Suffering under that, while they ignored me because I was the vindictive parent who got interrogated by the FBI. And she admitted in court she was the one that took them, that called the FBI. That is, she actually admitted that in court when they questioned her. Didn't make a difference. The damage was done. So that's the Patriot Act for you. My life, my freedom, my liberty, so-called freedom, so-called liberty, was all taken away in an instant by a piece of paper. A piece of paper. An authorized signature on a piece of paper is worth more than any of us to our government. That's reality. That's where your freedom is. That's where your liberty is. Now think about this. What if I had panicked? What if I got really angry during that interview and wasn't able to stay calm, keep my cool and think? My situation could have been a lot worse than a few hours in a basement. Who knows what they could have done? I was not an American citizen at that time. I had no rights at all. Nothing. And I know somebody's going to ask, so yes, of course, I did talk to my attorney. I went straight to my attorney's office right after that whole incident and laid the whole thing out for him. He says, "You're lucky you're sitting here." And there's nothing legally that can be done because they didn't break any laws. They're completely within the legal system, completely within legal jurisdiction. Everything that they did, technically, they did nothing wrong. Is it moral? Is it ethical? Absolutely not. Do you have freedom? Do you have liberty? Absolutely not. You have a handful of privileges. And according to the government, you're lucky to have that. Think about that. And there are people, this is a minor incident in comparison. There are people all over the country that this is happening to right now. And worse, much worse. There are people out there that are disappearing completely. You'll never see or hear from them again, and they're probably innocent. But the Patriot Act and other laws like it give our government the right to just sweep in and do whatever the hell they want to anybody. And most of the time they're wrong. How many actual terrorists have they stopped under the Patriot Act? It's like the TSA, all the trouble they put everyone through. Have they ever actually caught anyone? What does their track history actually look like? It's really pitiful when you stop and you look at it. But they have Americans jumping through hoops for nothing, wasting your money, wasting your time, eating up tax dollars. And it's not just America. If you're overseas, your government's doing something similar to you. They just call it something else. And that's your food for thought moment. Really think about that. Do you really believe that you have freedom or liberty? Do you have a similar story? Put it in the comment section down below. People need to see it, and people need to hear it. So hey, stay frosty, folks. And thanks for watching.